You stand beside a river 5,000 years ago. The water is wide, the soil is dark, reeds bend in the wind. Fields and huts fill the distance. Animals graze beyond the river. But there is no country. There is no passport. There is no capital city. There are no colored map shapes. Nobody crosses into another nation. You might belong to family. You might belong to a village. You might belong to language. You might belong to a god. You might belong to a ruler. Modern countries do not exist yet. How did humans invent countries? Countries appeared slowly over thousands of years. No king created the first country. People began settling down. Food had to be protected. Water had to be controlled. Strangers had to be recognized. Power needed to know its limits. Most people lived in small groups. They followed seasons and animals. Groups knew each other's hunting grounds. They could avoid one another. They could trade together. They could marry into communities. They could fight over land. This was not a modern border. It was a remembered landscape. Grandparents knew the valley. People gathered in familiar forests. Springs mattered in dry seasons. Land needed no government measurements. Land could be shared and defended. Societies organized land differently. Indigenous stewardship had deep traditions. Countries are only one system. Small communities needed no large state. Everyone knew one another. Rules could be remembered. Trust was personal. The group saw broken promises. Then something changed. Change did not happen everywhere. People stayed in one place. They planted crops. They stored grain. They raised animals. Villages slowly grew. Farming fed more people. But food could be stolen. A field could be claimed. A canal could be blocked. Storage jars became tempting targets. Humans built permanent homes. Then humans built storehouses. Someone guarded the stored food. River valleys made coordination urgent. Rivers brought life and floods. Mesopotamian farmers depended on canals. Settlements became major urban centers. Uruk became one of the largest. A canal meant survival. Many families shared the water. Someone organized canal labor. Who digs the channel? Who repairs the broken bank? Who receives water first? Who settles village arguments? Something larger than villages emerged. Rules reached beyond one household. Elders and councils guided early rules. There was no single recipe. Dense populations needed leadership. There was too much grain. There were too many promises. Memory was the first system. People remembered debts and work, but memory has limits. A village can remember. A city cannot always remember. Then came a discovery. Marks could remember. Clay tablets recorded goods and labor. Writing began with administration. Tablets traveled beyond memory. Seals confirmed agreements. Records turned food into power. Cities counted workers. Cities collected grain. Cities fed builders and messengers. Cities equipped guards for war. Land and authority became connected. Communities controlled larger areas. Fields supplied the city. Villages supplied labor. Roads and rivers carried trade. Walls offered protection. Early cities became city-states. Trade gained valuable resources. Conquest gained valuable resources. A city needed grain. Grain needed fertile fields. Fields needed water. Water needed canals. Canals needed workers. Workers needed authority. Territory became political. Land produced wealth. Wealth brought cooperation and conflict. One city-state controlled a small region. Another city-state stood nearby. Each city had another ruler. Boundaries were rarely straight. A river could mark territory. A hill could mark territory. A wall could mark territory. A marker stone could mark territory. Some boundaries were dangerous zones. Early borders were uncertain. Wars moved boundaries. Weak rulers lost control. Rivers changed their courses. The idea kept growing. This land answers to us. These people owe labor here. This road belongs to our ruler. This was territorial power. Then came kingdoms and empires. Some rulers conquered nearby cities. Then they conquered valleys. Then they conquered regions. Empires ruled many peoples. Empires built roads. Empires collected taxes. Empires moved armies. Empires imposed laws. Empires encouraged long-distance trade. Larger states were harder to control. A palace claimed distant provinces. Distant people spoke other languages. Distant people kept other customs. Distant people honored other ancestors. Some people resisted imperial rule. Boundaries cannot create shared identity instantly. Safety can become control. Taxes can build roads. Taxes can fund irrigation. Taxes can fund defense. Taxes can burden families. Walls can protect a city. Walls can keep people in. Borders can reduce conflict. Borders can divide communities. Communities crossed landscapes for generations. Countries tell stories of unity. Countries also tell stories of exclusion. They tell stories of conquest. They tell stories of migration. People were assigned to sides. Empires rose and fell. Kingdoms split apart. New rulers claimed old lands. Medieval boundaries stayed blurry. A ruler controlled castles and towns. Not every mile was governed. Loyalty could be layered. Modern countries came much later. Central governments grew stronger. Printed maps changed territory. Censuses counted populations. Standing armies expanded state power. Legal systems defined authority. Colonial expansion reshaped borders. Revolutions changed political maps. Citizenship became a powerful idea. States defined who belonged. States defined where authority began. States defined where authority stopped. Borders became more precise. Borders were surveyed. Borders were mapped. Borders were patrolled. Borders entered treaties. Modern countries are not natural facts. Mountains are natural. Rivers are natural. Countries are human agreements. Laws and institutions support countries. Force can also support countries. Country shapes have changed repeatedly. Country names have changed repeatedly. Borders still change today. Negotiation can change borders. Independence movements can change borders. International diplomacy can change borders. Tonight, you may look at a map. You may not think about it. Maps came from organizing food. Maps came from organizing water. Maps came from organizing labor. Maps came from organizing records. Maps came from organizing armies. Maps came from organizing laws. Maps came from organizing identity. Humans first lived in small communities. Then they settled near food. Then they settled near water. Then they built villages. Then they built fields. Then they built canals. Then they built storehouses. Then they created records. Then they created rulers. Then they created systems of law. Eventually, humans made countries. A country is more than a map. Countries answer an ancient question. Who are we? Who is responsible for this place? How can strangers share rules? The answers were never simple. The story is still being written.